Um, lectured at the University of Ghana for many, many years. Prof still does some work in education, though. Prof, good morning, and thank you very much for your
Good,
time. And good morning.
good morning. How is everybody?
We are fine. We are fine, and I hope you are too.
By His grace.
And it's
By
not.
His grace.
Yes, it's nice to have you on the line because one of the things you do, you did in your earlier years, I don't know whether you are still involved, was to work with Accra Great Olympics.
Oh.
So I wanted
To talk about Black Stars.
yes. Briefly, what do you? I just wanted to find out from you because the tournament is done, but what do you think should happen going forward to our football and sports in general? Yeah.
This morning I was browsing the net, and I heard the post-match interview of Carlo Ancelotti, and some comments by one BBC correspondent who is virtually a Brazilian, Tim Vickery, and they're talking about how failure should then trigger future planning. Germany is in the process of hiring Jurgen Klopp to be the next coach. And already they set up a committee to look at the whole football infrastructure and development. And so big football countries are taking the failures of this World Cup to project the future progress. Now, you will not believe how France has developed so many world-class players because they have as a policy, a youth development program, which all clubs are obliged to adopt. But when you come here, I just asked a colleague this morning when I heard you analyze the whole failure. Semenyo, I followed him, has been playing top football for the past 5-6 years. Was he in the national team when we went to Qatar in 2022? He wasn't. Benjamin Asari, many of the players who played, that's why we credit Otoado for scouting for them. So there's no plan. Even the core group of players who played in this tournament, they have been playing over the years, but it's as if the GFA has interest that every tournament, my man should be in it so that he's advertised or he's seen by the top clubs for poaching. And so we don't have a football program. Look, Morocco's performance is not a fluke. It's not a fluke. King Mohammed or the government made sure that women football created 16 clubs sponsored by the state, Division A, Division B, their academy system. The few international stars that they have or playing professional abroad, they make sure they are always in there. So if you go back and you check on the World Under 20 or the youth tournament by FIFA and Under 17, women and men, or young men you call them, you see that Morocco is always in the competition. When was the last time that the Under 17 played at the FIFA Under 17? And when was the last time the Under 20 or the last 5-10 tournaments? How many times have we participated? Our football is just, to say the least, reckless planning. So we manage to qualify for tournaments, then we go to the diaspora. Our own brothers and sisters who traveled abroad and brought up their children and managed to get them into professional game. That is what we rely on. But you don't develop football that way. So we thank the players for taking us far. The disappointment notwithstanding, we hope that this will open up the opportunity for us to rethink about the way we plan the game. But some of us are not surprised that we couldn't get far. So that's my take on it.
I wonder what you think needs to change first.
There must be total overhaul. Total overhaul. This FIFA say governments should not interfere. It is our response. The Black Stars or the national teams are not for the GFA. They are for the state. And so any government of the day is a cheap patron. And if the game is not getting on well, we have a stake to make sure that the right thing is done. It is beyond FIFA non-interference policy. You understand?
Mhm.
So no government should take things lying low, and then of course the political establishment too is to blame. When we qualify for a major tournament, then it becomes a platform for us to show that under our administration we got there. But that's not an achievement. Qualifying for the World Cup now, 48. Look at the performance of Cape Verde. The players who played, many of them are playing in Portugal and Europe. You understand? Over the last five AFCONs, don't you see Cape Verde has been doing very well?
Yes.
Exactly. It's not just out of nothing. So there must be an overhaul of the system. We have far too long relied on these one-man football clubs whose interest is just to market their players, and then at the end of the day, they don't care about the development of the game. But the state has an interest. So in a non-partisan manner, we must set up a committee to look at the whole structure of football development. You understand? And that then will help us, because the football should be taken away from the streets. Now the game has become a systems game. The free-flowing Pele Maradona type of football is gone. You play to a fixed pattern, and you have to evolve over the years. So when we had the under 17 of the 90s, you see how far we went. But now we cannot even qualify for the under 17 and under 20, which means that we don't really develop even the under 17. One would have thought that the under 17 would be like the Black Stars of the youth. The under 20 is the next generational stage. Then they become mature. And now, fortunately, we have top professional clubs in Europe looking for them where they will refine their skills. But we don't plan. That's the most unfortunate thing. You see, the late FIFA president, Havelange, a little bit down my memory lane. In 1974, when he contested for the FIFA presidency, his message was that he will bring football to the underdeveloped or the underdeveloped in terms of football countries, especially the third world countries. And that's why he won the presidency. And so the very first tournament to give meaning to his manifesto or agenda was the FIFA under Coca-Cola under youth tournament in 1977 in Tunisia. Then he went further to develop the under 15, and it was held in China. Nigeria won. You see, it is to open up, and it was to help developing countries or developing football nations to have something to aim at. So if we develop coast football or the youth football, their World Cup is under 17. Then that generation will mature. So Messi, Neymar, Kaka, Oscar, all those players went through the system. You see, when you see them at that level, Ronaldinho, you could remember Ronaldinho when we, 1997, they beat Ghana in Cairo, smiling young boy, etc. They went through the system. And so the government must be involved. Right? It's not like interfering, but football is a profession, and it provides opportunity for many people. Today, Senna, if we get the bonus of one of the professional players, Salah, 300, 400,000 pounds a week, if you even give us 1%, I believe you will retire from Radio Go tomorrow. So the game is not just a child's play or just an ordinary voluntary business. It's a serious multi-billion-dollar business, and we need to take it seriously. I hope that should be it for football.
Yes, let's move on to your other passion, which is education. And you were at the University of Ghana for quite a long time.
Yes, sir.
I guess you've heard the education minister, former education minister.
Yeah, I heard what you said.
What do you think? Does he have a point?
Oh, you see, Senna, let me make my share my viewpoint on two issues. First, let's separate the messenger from the message. The messenger in the name of Dr. Educhum. It is unfortunate that he should be making that point, because you were minister for 4 years and you were at the center of policy initiation. You understand? Policy, how making policy. You were at the heart of it. So maybe typical of our partisan politics is now an opposition politician. So you must always find something to say to enhance your image or chances, or to make the government of the day bad. That's perhaps the way I look at it. You understand? Senna, if you know you are in the studio, we all interact. Medical officers who have finished some 8 months, 1 year, they have not been posted. And some survive by doing locum. You move from this clinic, do some 3, 4, 5 hours, move to another clinic. Doctors, will you tell me that we don't need doctors, or medicine is not a payable job or an important profession or program? Under him, were nurses and teachers not posted? And will you tell me that finishing B.Ed education, Bachelor of Education at a College of Education or any university, you tell me that program is not important? You understand? So that should be for the messenger. But the message, what he said, is a reflection of failure over the years. In fact, when the 7-year development plan was launched in March 1964, if you read the area of manpower, now we say human resource, Kwame Nkrumah projected that we will train enough teachers and engineers and doctors, etc., that will even export professionals to other countries. And that by 1970, at the end of that 7-year development plan, Ghana would turn out 10,000 graduates. And you will recall that until the recent years, when we were in the 70s, etc., popular programs in engineering, chemical engineering, mechanical engineering, civil engineering were very popular. And there was a program, chemical technology. Because why? Students finish and the industries were all over the place. You understand? Today, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, the name has not changed. But go and look at the programs that they run and look at the profile of the students that they admit. They are doing religion. They are doing human, the programs in humanities. They are law, etc. When we were at Tech, it was only social science or social studies. Social science. But now, there are more programs in the non-science and technology, which was the core mandate of KNUST. University of Cape Coast was to train professional teachers. Now they also are doing religion. They are doing we can say mission creeping. But that is what the situation is. Now, let me state that there is no course, or rather we say discipline, that is irrelevant. Be it classics, be it philosophy, be it sociology, any program that is offered at the university level. The basic thing for the bachelors is to open up your mind, critical thinking. That is it. Of course, if you select a program that will not give you job, it doesn't mean the program is useless. I have worked or been on the GTEC, then National Council for Tertiary Education, and later National Accreditation Board. They were merged in 2020 to form the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. Before a program is submitted or accredited, you must submit a very detailed application that should show the relevance of the program, apart from the economics aspect, whether it fits into national policy, etc. Of course, programs that are being run are all accredited, and so they went through the process. But one thing that is failing is the policy, whether we need to enhance certain programs or reorient them in the manner that a student will do some level of education, and that's why you have the course credit system, that you merge courses or select courses in a manner that whatever degree you come out with, you are versatile. You see? So when you take the message, it just brings to the core. And if the messenger is the person of a former minister, then it tells you how grave the situation is. There are engineers. Why are many people reading law? It's not that law is more important than any discipline, but perhaps you can get job and the prestige that comes with it. Doctors are reading law and they become lawyers and they forget about medicine, maybe on the fewer notes. But there are many people in many disciplines who have now become lawyers, and the law is now their career profession. And it is a reflection of failure in the system. You know, I teach soil science or earth science, and whenever I'm teaching, I feel sad. I feel guilty in the sense that it's not that I'm not imparting the good knowledge, but I look at the student and I say, look, here we are in the country. God gave us the very first thing He created, heaven and earth. He gave us earth. And all that He gave to our first parents, He enumerated them. And what did He tell us? He told us that take good care of it and let it prosper to your benefit. A week today, we were in the mess. Thank God, God didn't let rain come for 40 days, and later on it subsided. So today is calm. But we don't have good physical planning in terms of our spatial planning. When I tell you, Senna, that the best agricultural lands, if you want to classify them, Accra will be among the number one group. The best agricultural lands.
Really? Accra.
I'm telling you, without any shred of doubt, and I don't think anybody will challenge. The best agricultural lands that if you put together, depending on the crop, of course, you can grow plantation crops like coffee, cocoa, etc. But if you're talking about cereals, I can tell you that the productive land in Accra, if you are classifying land, is even better than the north, or interior savannah, we call it. But look at Accra. We are building in river basins or drainage basins. Every river, like the other day on what do you call it, Alaji and Alaji, you made a point. If you go into the laws, they say a major river like the Volta, half a kilometer on each bank, you don't cultivate. You don't even put a hole in the ground. And streams like Odo, etc., 200-300 meters on the banks, you don't. Because water drains through a channel and it's a low-lying area. On the days that you have major rain flowing from uphill and then lateral flow along the side, they must be contained within the basin. And later on, when it drains off after the rain or the recharge area, then it goes through the channel. But you are built everywhere. Apart from the topography of Accra that is low-lying with a high groundwater table, we build recklessly. But look at colonial times. Colonial times, apart from the settlement along the coast, which you can see evolved in a historical manner, when the colonial people were pushing northwest, they developed reach, they developed cantonments, and went to Tesano. And Tesano in Ghana means there is stone, and Sa is a mat, and no, it's on top. So on top of the stone, that's where they went. And Jowulu is a big valley. That's the meaning. It was left fallow. Alajo, when we were young people, there was a big saline lagoon in Alajo. We call it Alajo Sea because it's a low-lying area. So why do you build there? It's because of system failure over the years. You understand?
Mm.
If you travel like Amsterdam, here is Schiphol Airport. Here is Amsterdam. You see farms. You see farms. So we don't have good land use planning. The policy is there. The laws are there. We have a comprehensive building code. But we don't follow as a people. What is wrong with us?
Mm.
And I always end by asking my students when I teach land use planning that Adam and Eve, I don't think they were Japanese. They were not Germans. They were not Dutch. They were not French. They were not Americans. They were not Canadians.
Okay.
But you see, those countries or nations that obeyed God's command, they are living well because there's disaster everywhere. But I will tell you, ask people in the U.S. I mean, southern states like South Carolina, St. Louis, etc. It rains torrentially, but
Okay.
apart from the hurricanes and others that come once in a while, ask them whether when it rains after 1 hour there's water pool anywhere or there's water on the street.
Mm.
It's physical planning.
Prof,
So,
is it your
so
suggestion that all this, even if there is a problem like you suggested, it should be blamed on policy?
exactly, and enforcement. Enacting a policy is one thing, or enacting a law is one thing, but enforcing to make sure we all oblige. Why are we so reckless? And of course, we tend to blame politicians because they also tell us that they can do everything next to God.
No, Prof,
You
I'm
see,
talking
but
about the education thing because
the education thing. So if there is planning, Senna,
Mhm.
I studied in Canada.
Okay.
The university I went to, the College of Education had the highest number of students
Okay.
because you can never teach anywhere from creche to college without a degree in education. You understand?
In Canada.
So yes, ask anybody. You can never teach. They won't license you to teach from creche to anywhere pre-tertiary if you don't have a degree in education.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think teaching education is important in terms of teaching, and the people who teach our younger children impart knowledge and skills, then you cannot tell me that any program in education is useless. Now I'm telling you that we say we don't have many doctors relative to the number of patients, and yet there are doctors who finish in 8 months, 1 year, they have not been posted. Of course, they will tell they should go and look for, but do you know how much look for job for themselves? Do you know how much it takes to set up a clinic or a hospital? So there's total failure, and we as citizens must have the equal what do you call it strength and determination to demand that collectively our governments really prioritize or rather set up or initiate policies and implement them that we will be in a position to live according to God's commandments. The other day I saw that we have imported 2 locomotives for the cargo haulage along the Eastern Railway line. Some time ago I spoke to you about that.
Yes.
We took $369 million to put up that rail, and we rather tested it with a passenger, train.
Yes.
That wasn't the purpose for putting up that rail. It was to reduce cargo transport by road, which is the most expensive. So you take freight from Tema to Akosombo. There is a port. You must put up a port there so that you put the cargo on barges to Wipe or Yape. Then you just have about 120 miles or 160 kilometers or 180 kilometers to go to the Sahelian countries. So that was the economic advantage that we have. And so I'm happy that they say they've imported. That is what we should be doing.
Prof, I also wanted to find out, are university courses built specifically for the job market?
Well, you can say so, but directly that when I produce a graduate or I turn out a graduate, then I have to find job for him or her. Not in that regard. But universities don't exist by themselves. They are under state control. They are given the academic freedom. Was it not Nkrumah who set up the medical school? He set up the law school. You see, although under guidance and then the approval of the university, but it's the government of the day that sets policy. You see, I want to do this. Achiampong set up the medical school in KNUST and then the School of Agriculture in Cape Coast, 75. Because that is what. And then you give it to the university. Of course, the council government has the chairman of the council. So the council is in control.
Okay.
This new legal training law that we now have is government. Because we entrust you periodically with power to shape our destiny. And so universities are there And of course, they have to be refining and reviewing their programs too.
Mhm.
Now we are talking of artificial intelligence. We've gone past the computer age. We've now thinking of artificial intelligence, cyber security, because you are evolving with contemporary times. In our time, we were using just a slide rule and a log table. But today, look at where the world has got to. So you review programs, etc. If we think that now information technology is what really is bringing jobs, you need to look at the programs. And many universities or tertiary institutions have introduced programs, etc. But that does not mean that other programs, conventional programs that had existed, like philosophy, sociology, classics, etc., they are not irrelevant. They are not. Of course, we scientists will say that philosophy is the mother of science. You understand? Philosophy is the mother of science. So nobody can tell me that philosophy is not important. Very, very important. Sociology, look at our social irresponsibility. You see? So no program is or discipline is irrelevant. But it is government that should shape it and then make sure we can revise programs, evolve new ones, taking advantage of new waves in learning to make everything that we do relevant. And I think there we are failing. We are failing seriously, big time. You understand?
So you are saying it is
when
government
China
policy
is
that
constructing
shapes.
train that is going faster than rail, we are constructing highways. I would have preferred getting a fast railway line to Kumasi, which will just what do you call it, double track rail. That will just take one lane. The road is important, but I will prioritize rail. Accra to Kumasi is not a wonderful landscape. And there's technology. The Chinese say when you landscape properly, they can lay 30 kilometers of rail line a day. So it's capital intensive though, but I would have loved that because it's in the long run very, very economical.
But Prof,
well,
should universities also not be the bastions for raising people who change the way in which a society thinks or develops?
Yes, you are right in the way. You are right in the way. But you see, then that should come from all of us at the university. That academic body is a body that takes full responsibility. Do we need to revise our programs or review our programs? It doesn't mean shutting down, but then we place emphasis. And when those are the programs where we direct resources or we offer them, then they become the centers of attraction for our students who are coming in. You see, like I said years ago, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, anybody who did science and was mathematical, physical sciences will always choose Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. But today, there were people who train as such engineers who are now professional lawyers. It's because of failure in the system over the years. So your program is very wonderful and it provides opportunity for us to be talking because through this that we share opinions and then we say, hey, the way things are going, although we are in the older generation, but we have a younger generation to leave a legacy for. And so definitely there's a failure in that direction, but that is why we have government. So it comes back to the Ministry of Education or to the government itself to direct them to revise their programs or look at the programs they are running and see how we can bring many programs that really are of contemporary relevance. You see?
I see. Prof, thank you. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
Very, very well, very well.
Professor Ninoy Dowonai is with the University of Ghana, in fact. This is Hosagma, BSS speaking. Says, Prof taught me soil science in the University of Ghana in 1997. A great and committed lecturer. Accra Plains is truly the most fertile in Ghana. Unfortunately, it has been totally exhausted with unapproved building, etc. That's one of the things. That's why sometimes when you hear a politician like Educhum talking, you get angry because you had the job for 4 years of being education minister. This matter of Accra Plains, we knew that a long time ago. We've talked about it, that Accra Plains will become the next agricultural hub. It is now the next estate hub. So we build everywhere. Those are some of the things. And then you see, people don't just wake up and build. If government says no, I'm wondering how we can say that when the state says no, some chief sitting somewhere or somebody sitting can say yes. They exist because the state allows it. It's not because of their tribes. Most of these institutions exist because the state allows it. So some of this analysis, when they do it, then becomes difficult for you to, because then you forget the message and finish the messenger because you cannot talk. Education minister, how did you work to change that? What did you do? You cannot be criticizing the universities from far. You are making their job difficult. They are under you. How did you work with the universities to improve what you thought was a problem? Was it a problem anyway? Nancy?
Yes, sir. When we're discussing the issue of the Black Stars, your friend